at. We have a number of people, including Louis inside, myself, and Rongvalder has been really great at watching people and watching videos and practicing with us and giving input as well. So we want to make sure, he's not quite here yet, but he usually comes in a little bit. We want to make sure that as you go along, that we keep learning, that, you know, this isn't an exercise that we're doing and you're going to be great at the first time. I am still working at it after well over probably a year of starting ladder drills and working up. The idea is that we try to push being better every time. So for those people that have been here for a while, what I want to see out of you is really focus on that weight shift at your center, moving your center and making those drop steps even better and bigger if you can. Okay, you guys got the experience. You should know what to do. Now you can start pushing yourself. You're not pushing yourself if you're not sweating and you're not working hard. The best way to become good at whatever you want to do is work hard. For the people that just started, I want you to remember you just started. You do not have to keep up with us. We have no expectation for you to keep up with us. And in fact, we might finish something and if you have trouble, just say, hey guys, I'm having trouble. We'll find your picture. We'll help you with it and we'll move on. While we're helping you, everybody else gets to just do a little bit more work and get a little more practice in. And the idea is most people this is like a routine that people get great chance to work off some energy, sweat, and get a workout in. And that's one of the best parts. Listen to your bodies, folks, okay? So we're gonna do some warm up here in the beginning, but listen to your body. I have a number of people here with knee issues. I tell them this all the time. If you feel like you're getting weak in that knee, be careful how far you push it. I'm going to tell you always dig down into that stance. So if you've been here a long time and it's finding it simple, then drop an extra 2 inches in your stance. If you're just starting and you have some knee problems or back problems, don't drop quite as deep. Drop to where you're comfortable and you can still keep going. And then we're going to build on that. As you develop more strength in what we do, then I'm going to ask you to drop a little bit more, okay? But it's always you understand your body more than I do. So please be careful. Please, if there's stuff you have questions like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this because I have this, ping me and or Rongvalder or whoever you're comfortable. There's a lot of great people here. Bess has been on doing this for a while. Louis and Cy have been doing it from the beginning with me. Ping whoever you're comfortable with. I can guarantee you they'd love to talk to you. Okay. So today we're going to go through our ladder drills. We change up usually after the ladder drills. We change up what our next drills are, and it may come to everything from rotate. We'll definitely go through the rotational drills, and then we'll add a little bit of sword, which we've been doing as for some of the people that have been practicing more for a longer period of time. This also is great for anybody else that wants to. We all know how to throw a sword. We want to add it with feet movement. So for those, when we get into those rotational drills and stuff, if you've been here for a while, you know what I want you. It's time to grab the sword and shield. First time rotations around, make sure you got that perfect stance all the time. I don't care what your stance is. Just make sure it's perfect, that it doesn't move as you're moving. In other words, as you step, I don't want a sword come up over here and then here I am, look, I'm moving. No, that's not it. It's here I am, I'm moving, right? So keep that good solid stance, that good solid defense as you're moving into those. So if you're into those advanced pieces, do that first. And then if a couple of people have already been doing that, then add some throwing the shots in there. Again, we try to layer this in. So if for those who are just here, just work on the feet. We're going to start bottom up. So let's make sure you got the feet right so that the other things you probably already know how to do pretty well can come on top of that later. But if you don't have a good foundation, then the walls shake, right? So let's get that good foundation first. All right, guys. So we're gonna end, and I'll apologize. I'm a little bit old school. We have lots of men, women here. When I say guys, I mean everybody here, and mean no offense by it. But I try to stop doing that. I'm just hard-headed and been hit a lot. But So the first thing we'll do is let's go ahead and start out the warm up. So this is an exercise. These exercises, again, guys, for a lot of people have already been doing these. This exercise, let me. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. So we're going to do flat foot body squats, right? So again, you don't have good knees. All we're doing is going down to where you can go. Okay, try not to lean too much. Flat, nice flat feet. Okay. I want at least 10 of these from the new folks, 15 from if you've been around for a bit. It's a great way to warm up and to build strength. If anybody hears my knees, they look terrible. So again, if you have bad knees, just go down. If you can just go down this far and back up, I don't care. That's fine. You're still pushing yourself, right? So that's the idea. Just as a reminder, and I was just talking to Nessa about this, as you guys prep to start, try to get your stretches and a little bit of warm up prior to doing this. I would just suggest not stretching super hard at the beginning of practice. The best time to stretch is at the end, but warm up is very important before practice. All right, let's circle those ankles. I don't know about you guys, but I know my right ankle, unfortunately, trying to kick a bunch of ice off yesterday, stressed it out again. So we will use ankles a lot in movement. So get them nice and just circle, round foot circle. With the next one, we're gonna push on those ankles a little bit. All right. Next exercise, a lot like the flat-footed one, except this time we're gonna go ahead, everybody push up on their feet all as high as you can get, all the way up until you feel that your toes are engaging and holding your balance. And then you're gonna go down. This time, look at my back. It stays perfectly straight. Okay, this is called body stacking. The heels are off the ground. And then back up, and then push all the way up. Till, again, your toes engage on the floor. And then back down, and back up. So let's do 10 of those this time. Again, what we're doing here is we're working strength into your feet as well. But even more so, we are working the understanding of your balance into your feet, because that step kind of lifting out of your toes, you can feel yourself kind of falling, and your toes will start engaging with the ground to create balance. A few weeks ago, I talked to people about a show I watched where they had all the best martial arts, or well, not best, but all the different martial arts. And it was one of where they're comparing strength and power. Poor ninja guy was getting beat up by everybody until they did the run along the tops of these beams exercise. And it was truly amazing. The guy was like up and down. Nobody could do him except for him. And that's because his points of contact and balance on the floor, they put soles in his shoes that could figure out the contact points. He had 2 or 3 more points of contact that he used to balance than all the other martial artists. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes more to finish those up. I'm not going to care a lot, just so everybody knows, and I'm just rambling on as we're exercising. I'm not going to care a lot about what stance you guys are in, unless you want help, of course. I'm not going to care a lot about what sword stance is or anything. This is footwork is footwork. I will tell you, I do sword foot back. So when we go into some footwork stuff, do whatever foot is comfortable to you to start with, but then we'll most likely switch it into the secondary stance so that you know how to do it both ways. So, all right, the next one. Again, if you're funny foot, go ahead and switch your feet. We're gonna get in our stance. Perfect back again here, okay? Think about where you're essentially just below your belly button here. And you're gonna move that. Again, you look how my back stays nice and straight. This is all about really that the hips, keeping that nice and flat here. And then all the way back. Here's what happens. Watch my hands if I don't adjust. Look, and now my hands are starting to point towards the ground, which also means my shoulders are. Which also means all my defense and shots are also pointing towards the ground now, which is not good. So all we're going to do is we're going to this is what we call the rocking chair. Okay? All the way onto the front toes. For you guys that have been here for a bit, see if you can get used to picking that back foot off the ground. And then all the way to the back. This is you're going to be kind of on your heel, or I usually about 50-50, and pretty flat on the foot. And then back all the way forward. Keep your back nice and stacked, nice and straight. And then all the way back. All right, let's get 10 of these, and then you're going to switch your feet, and you're going to do them again. I use these a lot for the people that have some issues. For those that with issues with their knees or strength, to build strength. This is very nice because you can use this in a fight. Here I am close to my opponent. Here I am away from my opponent. To give you an idea on the lapel how that looks. Here I am. Let me grab my sword. I am exactly length out, medium stance, a sword length away. Here I am. Now I'm well halfway through my sword, you can see. And then when I pull back, I'm out of range. All the way forward. Again, you see my back. I create a little bit of arch just to keep my back straight. All the way back. So this is why we do these. Is because this is this distance between you and your pal. All right, switch your feet. Let's do it again. Just building comfort and strength. Try not to bob up and down while you do this. If you're looking at a spot on the far wall, that spot should be staying perfectly flat to your eye, not bouncing up and down. I am not as good on this one. That's it. Take your time. Ooh, almost fell down. Take your time. This is not a rush.
Also, quick side note while we're here. As we go through this, we kind of switch around the spotlighted camera view to what we think is most relevant at the time to show the people on Facebook. If you're in the Zoom meeting, you can absolutely pick whichever camera view is most useful to you and stick to it. You're not obligated to go with what we're deciding to show. So just a reminder that that's a thing.
All right. So everybody doing pretty good. We're going to give a second or two to wrap those up. Looks good. Everybody just kind of popping through to see folks with cameras. Looks like everybody's done. Let's go ahead and move on. Saib, you want to go ahead and start taking us through the ladder stuff?
Yeah. And I'm going to try yelling real loud and hope that you can hear me on the mic.
Can you turn your laptop towards you?
And be way louder, please.
Or just start on the other edge of the ladder. There you go. You're still a little bit rough.
All right, cool.
Okay.
We're gonna turn off the fan and hope that helps.
How's this?
I can hear you better.
All right. So I'm gonna start in the middle of the ladder for sound purposes, but you should start at the end of yours. First one we're gonna do is our 2-foot run. So I'm starting with my left foot forward, so I go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Then do your other foot.
That's it. Again, try to keep your head from bobbing. You should be keeping that center even, good. And then as you get better at this, work on that speed. What this drill is doing is really helping your balance. Try not to look at the ladder. When you're first starting this, go ahead. Just be aware when you're looking down, your shoulders will tilt. So as you get better at it, try not to look down as much. You do not have to hit the ladder parts perfectly, unless you got a real ladder, and then you'll know when you don't. All right, I think we're probably ready for the next one.
Okay, next one. Lateral in, out, out. So I'm gonna stand on the side of my ladder, and in the direction I'm moving, I'm gonna start with that foot and go in, and then back out, and then repeat in the next box. In, out. And then of course, do it, stay facing the same way on your ladder and go the other direction.
All right, I'm tired.
Doing it.
That's the way, guys. Take your time. New folks, take your time. People have been doing this. If you're done first, do more. Push yourself. Fox, you ready? You good over there?
Just presenting evidence that I am working.
Okay. Was that you, Beth?
If there's a dog in it, it's me. They like to sit on the stairs and get pets when I get at that end.
Gotcha. All right, you look good. You good? Give me thumbs up. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
Okay. This next one we call the fourth step. I'm gonna start to one side of my ladder, and I'm gonna go into the box, out the other side, and then into the next one. Same thing, back the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you speed
You got it.
land in your stance.
So the piece here is everybody should be working on this as you're being leaning into the move. In other words, your hip goes into the move, your feet travel underneath you. Still perfectly straight up and down. People have been here for a while. Make sure you got, look at, Saib has a nice low stance, right? See how that hip is driving her to where she wants to go and then feet catch up.
This is one that once you've done it forward, you can do it backwards.
Nice job. We got a couple of groups. We have multiple people, so I'm giving everybody time to finish them up.
Nope.
Good to see Libby join us again down there. Nice, that's the way. Good. Don't run her over. All right, we're looking good. Blue is just finishing probably a second set, so. And I think Elizabeth is doing the same. All right, let's work next one.
Let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. The next one is what we're calling skiers. So we're going to start with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. This time we're doing sort of our drop gather step. So we're going to drop step out to the side and gather our feet back together. And then we go the other way. So our feet should always be going apart and then back together for this step.
So the idea is your drop step is, I said, don't reach your foot out first. Try to move your hip and then fall onto that step outside. So if you point at a 45 into each corner you're falling into, that's the idea. And then you fall into that step. So I'm going to do it real slow. Go watch Louis. See, Louis, he's just falling onto that foot. His body weight carries him out. That foot just follows him. All right.
It's up to yours if you want to show slow-mo.
So in the slow motion, what this is, if I point here, my foot, if I lift this and then I lean, I fall into it. That's an over example. So I'm going to point to the other corner. I essentially start shifting my weight there and I fall into it. Okay, so that's the drop step. When we talk about the drop steps, it's used in a lot of things, but in a gather step, the drop step is very important. Also, so everybody understands, we will be covering kind of disciplines on these movements, as in a gather step is really the step at the end of your drop step that gets your back foot back up to it. So you're gathering back to your stance. We use that mostly because that's what the long sword community uses. We will do a shuffle step. That's where essentially your 2 feet come together and you make a shuffle. And then we will do a crossover exercise. So those would be the primary 3 different things you see us run through later on. We're going to do this backwards on the way back.
You made me feel better when you stumbled backwards. I totally biffed it over the dog.
Oh yeah, all the time. Especially going backwards. I'm trying to do the back straight thing and I go too far and tip over back.
I had a dog run behind me and I biffed it hard.
In this exercise, to get that motion, you should almost, and I'm done, when you're doing it backwards, you should almost feel like you're sitting into no seat, and then you let your feet catch you. All right, let me check how everyone's doing. Looks like a bunch of you got Grimmer's finishing his up. Germanicus is finishing his up. Libby's wrapping hers up here in a minute. Cool, man. Blue is done. Good. Good. All right, let's go ahead and to the next one.
Next one is similar idea, but instead of doing our feet apart and then together, we're going to go the other way. So we're going to put that other foot in front, bringing our feet close together, and then open back up.
Right, so this isn't an actual crossover, although you get a little bit. When you get this done right, it's more of almost like a shuffle step. So Saib, just show them what the shuffle step inside of one line is. Inside of, there we go, shuffle step. Bring them together and then shuffle out. Right, so that's a shuffle step. So when, in this case, what she's doing, she's creating a partial shuffle there and then out. So that's the idea. And then do it backwards on the way back down the ladder. And don't worry, I have problems with these as well. Nice job, Big Fist. Nice job, Dramaticus. Grammer, you're looking better over there. It's good to see.
Travis, if I had known this stuff, you wouldn't have seen half the travesty in the videos I sent you.
So the back step on that is very hard. Another way to think about this sometimes, Blue, you're looking really good, bud. It's good to see you again. So when you do it backwards, it's definitely a lot tougher.
Hold on.
Sometimes if you think about turning your hip a little, it can help. So like if you're like, you kind of whip your hip the way you're going, like the back foot, here I am. And later you'll see this, shoot to the other camera, there we go. So what I'll do is I'll turn this hip a little. So if I know that foot's going out forward, and I turn that hip, later we're gonna do those into 45s, but that little hip will kind of help you remind you which way you're going.
Yeah, Rebecca's joining us.
Yay. Hi over there.
He's like, I'm not joining.
No, I'm just watching. I'll get out of the camera now.
Hi, Becky, it's Bess. Hi.
Hey, girl, how are ya?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing
great.
really well.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I have to
Yeah.
get back to working. Your husband's a slave driver.
Exactly, enough talk.
I know he is.
Brew, you doing good over there? All right, cool. All right, Bess, they're just finishing up here. I mean,
already.
what's that? Okay, so looks like most people are finished up. Let's go ahead.
Are we gonna stop her already?
Yes. We're gonna keep making sure she works. Go ahead, Saib.
Okay, the next one is going to be
Yeah, give her a minute to.
Say it again.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Next one's gonna be very similar, but we're adding some angle to it. So here, I'll start a little closer so you can see the feet a little clearer. So instead of being straightforward now, I'm facing in towards my imaginary opponent that's in this next box. And then I'm still gonna do the foot here and whip around to face the other side.
The key is watch her feet are turned towards the direction she wants. So you have to turn, that becomes very important when we're changing angles, that those feet turn to angle them at your opponent. This also, throwing that hip a little bit helps out.
I see you got through today. Through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's the way, guys. Looking good. Nessa, you're doing a great job. That's the way, Elwin. That's exactly. You got the feet perfect. Brew, you're looking good too. Good to have you back, Rottweiler.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when you bring in that back, just think about putting the foot halfway in the ladder every time. Fox, Dan doing all right, or we're working on it? Yeah. Nice, Beth. Your turns are really good. Woo! Look at Grimmer go. Who's that guy? Holy crap. What a difference from a 1 week makes.
I
Nice.
suppose we'll win. We're doing this as a Blackhawks fan. San Jose, baby.
You got a lot of people.
Levy's doing awesome over there.
I so want to pet the kitty cat.
Sorry, that was me. Let's do something inside.
Yeah, just keep that front foot turning so that you're always turned towards that opponent, keeping him in the wedge. There you go. Perfect. Yes, that's the way, Libby. Good. All right. Look like we're ready for the next one.
All right, I gotta find my own video real quick, sorry.
No problem. I know we got a lot of people.
Okay. So, this one, we're gonna go back to that shuffle step, but we're gonna add a forward step on the front. So now I'm going to step forward into the next box, and then I'm gonna do that shuffle step. Forward into the next box, and then that shuffle, so together apart. Forward, together apart. 1, 2, 3. So we also call this one the 3-step, because it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And then backwards on the way back. Yep.
Just step back instead of forward.
Again, what we're working on here for everybody is foot agility. If you always feel comfortable in your feet and your body is nice and square, then you'll always feel in a good place and your feet will catch up to wherever your balance is. Foot agility is used everywhere in almost all sports, and that's what we're really working on here. Zivrid, Blue, you guys, I want you to get an extra couple inches into this. Really push yourselves. You get burst out of these if you've been doing this for a while. You can see how Louis is flashing through it, right? You can see him bursting in between. Those feet are pushing as he's leaving the floor. Nice job, Big Fist. William, you're doing awesome over there, man. You're still doing good. Yes, that's looking awesome. Good feet. That's the way, Dan. You're doing it. Step forward. There you go. Good. Step forward. Yep. There we go. Good. Elfwin getting faster. That looks good. Take that good step forward. That's the way. Good. Nessa, you're looking definitely getting better, smoother. Severin, that was nice and fast, buddy. All right, next one.
Very similar, but we're gonna add one more thing. So now I'm gonna step forward, and instead of bringing my feet together, instead I'm gonna go behind. We're actually gonna do that cross step. So step forward, cross behind, come over here. And as you're doing it slowly, it's a big awkward cross. And as you speed it up, it becomes much smaller.
Yep. And you can see she's going from one edge to the ladder to the other edge. So for the guys that have been here for a while, you try to get outside of those edges, get bigger, burst, more burst in those, okay? For the people that haven't been, just work on making sure that foot is coming back across the other foot. That creates a sweeping action that actually gets you more distance. You'll find with all three of these, from gather to shuffle to crossover, the distance gets bigger and bigger with each one.
This helps the crossover feel less.
Is this just a drop step with a crossover in the back as you drop?
Yeah.
So if you shift the body first, and then let the trailing foot that's going to cross over, that's kind of a adaptation of the drop step.
Just curious. That's what it feels like as I do it. So
Right, because you're not pushing off of something, you're leaning into it and you're lifting something.
okay, so I need to push off with my foot more.
Nope. It's
Okay,
actually
so
better
that,
if you
that is the way it should feel.
if you do the falling into it. It's actually better.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm going to put in a shameless plug. Louis is going to teach a class on this week in the Mid-Realm E-Rum. So if you want to get a real big deep dive on drop steps and all these variants, we got you.
Already listed is going.
Nice job, William. Nessa, nice and smooth again. You're looking good. Yeah, doing this backwards is a little tougher. Yeah, exactly. That cross foot becomes across the front.
Exactly.
Nice job, Brew. Don't worry if you can't do it backwards right away. Just do it nice and slow. I just had to do it nice and slow myself. We've just been actually adding that back one in. Louis has been doing it for a little while. You can see he's very comfortable with it. Do that backwards again, Louis. You can see how his front foot comes across for the big dropping, but his balance is over. So his hips, you can see how his hip is leaning, right? And then he falls into that sweeping foot. Nice, Big Fist. That's the way, Grimmer. That's how you got it. Bess, you're looking great there too. You're doing a really nice job keeping your head flat.
This is super for my abs because to keep my head flat, I really have to focus on my core. I appreciate
Yes,
this.
it's all about core, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad you
Yeah,
noticed
definitely feeling that.
that. Awesome. All right, so I think we're just finishing up Grimmer here, and then we'll start the next one. All right, go ahead.
Previously, we did those sort of small gather steps where it was 1 foot in the ladder. And we did this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move outside of the ladder, get even lower if you can. And we're going to do an extra wide version of that step all the way across and balance like
And into your stance.
yes, into your stance.
Again, whatever stance you're using, I don't care. So you can see this is a drop step with a gathering of the foot at the end. So make sure your feet are wide at the end whenever you land. And then do it backwards on the way back.
Left foot forward stance, and then you can repeat them with right foot forward stance.
Or your normal stance is, it will be different. Fun facts.
And just so you know, you shouldn't be switching your stance in this. So you always end up with whatever foot forward that you're normally with.
Also, if you're struggling to get all the way across and you can't make it that far without your form falling apart, make it smaller. It's okay.
Exactly.
Work your way up.
And for the people that have been here for a while, I expect those to be even bigger. I want more burst out of those toes when you're yes, that's the way. So it burst into those, not up, straight sideways. So there's a really big timing piece here. If you burst too early, you get an upward path, which actually takes distance away. Where if you wait long enough, that burst becomes straight sideways. Side will show you right here. So if you don't, see, you get that leaping effect. And you can't, that is not what we want. You wait until last second and you burst.
So that rear foot or the second foot is almost dragging.
Yes.
So your center of mass is sliding around.
That's the way. Good. So for those who have finished that, little less jump, Bess. Little more burst side to side. There you go. That's better. Good. All right. So now you guys are going to switch your feet, right, to whatever stance you normally aren't in, and do it again.
It will be a little more obvious here if you're keeping your feet in the same stance on both sides, that one's a longer reach than the other direction. So going one way is longer, and then going the other way is shorter.
And what you're really finding here is that you don't have as much coordination. And what we're really working on is building coordination on both sides. Later on, when you get to understand fighting better, you can break those rules, those common rules of where your feet are, and go funny foot, go whatever way provides you the best opportunity for your opponent. You'll see later here, we'll be doing some switch foot, which helps with, you know, for people that have a sword foot back stance, get into a sword foot front stance and turn that hip to get deeper shots. So the real key here is to understand our distance and our body and core and center better, and that movement that applied. Elfwin, nice job.
If you lower your hips a little bit, you can get a little bit more range.
You got it. There you go. Nice, Libby. That's the way. Looking better today. Totally. Good job, Blue. I want some explosiveness. You don't even look like you're sweating yet, for God's sakes.
I'm hurting.
Well, you should be hurting. You ditched us for the last 2 weeks. Don't mind me. I love giving people some special love once in a while. Magrat, it's awesome having you back. Hopefully you're enjoying these.
I'm trying. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so we're almost done there. You ready to decide for the next one?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try the other camera view for this one.
Okay. Oh, top corner. There we go.
gonna turn the computer so hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
All right. So this one's the turning step. So I'm gonna start out in my normal stance. For me, that is left foot forward, facing the side of the ladder. I'm going to take my back foot. For me, that is my right foot. I'm going to step in the ladder, facing down in my direction of movement. Then I'm gonna spin around and go back into my stance. So I'm left foot forward again. Then I'm gonna do the same thing the other way. Take that back foot, facing down the ladder, back into my stance.
So the example here is think of an opponent in front of you and that you're transitioning from his sides back across. So that's why that foot turns. Again, this allows that turn, allows you to get into that space, that angles that you want. If you don't turn your foot, you'll find that you can't do it.
Would you mind showing, I hate to do this to you, off foot forward?
Yeah, go ahead, do it any foot forward. You just have to do it 20 foot forward side. There you go. We'll do this later, by the way, as well. So again, back foot, pointed down the ladder and back around. Back foot, pointed down the ladder and back around. Does that help, Bess?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you.
No problem. You get to do it the other way later, though.
Yeah, great. I am not coordinated the other way.
It will be when we're done with you.
This is
Five.
this
There's
is the
four
one I can do
variations.
45, right?
No, 90.
Yes.
But the 90,
What's
no,
it
the
called?
90 twerks my knee too bad, I think.
Yeah, we're facing sideways to the ladder. If you
Yeah.
is the ideal.
I think this was the one
Problem.
I did at 45 because I can't twist my knee like that.
That's fine.
Do it. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And pick up your heel a little bit, and it will help you also.
Okay.
And the key is listen to Louis there. When he says pick up your heel, really most of this exercise and a lot of these exercises, you're going to be mostly on the ball of your foot.
I was gonna say it's a lot like dancing, and in dancing you stay up on your toes.
Exactly. You're always on that ball. And you can see how fast, Louis can do these after a time. You have to be a little careful on your leaning over your front. And that's the things that we work on. See how much straighter his back is right now. Some of that lean comes when you're looking at the ladder.
Remember to do them backwards.
After you run through it, taking all your steps with your back foot, you do it again using the front foot out of your stance, which I'll show now when Louis is done.
Go on the other side. There you go. Thank you.
My normal stance, and I'm going to take my front foot, just put it in the ladder. So you have to adjust the way that you step so that you have enough room to pull that front foot back out of the ladder and still be forward. For example, if I just step here, I can't really get back out of the ladder. So you have to take a little bit bigger of a step, depending on if you went with your front or your back foot.
Ow.
Nessa, you doing all right? How's those knees over there? That's right. So if you had a hard
Just to say, I
time,
thought my right knee was my bad knee.
okay. Yeah, so again, take it nice and slow. That way you know what you can do. And if you're having a hard time, take it super slow. You know, so there's nothing wrong with taking it nice and slow and making sure they're working right. This is all about brain memory, right? So this is getting your body used to doing something. Sometimes we get so patterned into certain things we do. Bess, you're doing a nice job working hard. So nice, Nessa. How's those knees? I know this one hurts you a little bit. So if for Nessa, she does these into 45s because she finds that turning her foot that far actually hurts her. So that's a good exercise for all of you to remember, is that if you're having some knee problems and it hurts, then just do it a little less. Or if you can't even do it less, then just don't do it and run through one of the drills that you need to do more of. Nice job, Grimmer. Good. All right, so for the people that are done, I think we have funny foot, right?
Yeah, if you didn't do funny foot, do your funny foot.
Remember with this, everyone, whether you're going left or right, the foot that you're using to step in is the same every time. So if you're going in with your left, you're going with your left from both sides.
That backwards is ridiculous.
Backwards is the best one.
Whatever.
Silly.
That backwards one is the one you use when your opponent wants to run you down.
Exactly, it is.
Make them run you down at a zigzag.
And
When
hopefully
you're-
gives you an open,
When you're a spear and you got
hopefully
to
giving you an
chase
opening
him
to
down.
him, hopefully giving you an opening to him in the back of the head as he goes by.
Exactly.
Ideally.
Well, at that point, why go for the head? Go for the kidneys. It's a bigger target.
Everybody's looking great. All right, we're gonna give it a couple more seconds here, a couple more like that. We'll just go rolling through people and make sure everybody looks done. All right, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and do it again. Next one. Good to see you, Josh. I hope your kid's doing good, feeling better.
The next one, we're gonna get in the stance. Since I'm moving to my right, I'm starting right foot forward. And we're gonna do our jab jumps now. So you're doing a little bit of a jab step, but you're following it with both feet. In the box, jab the box. All the way down.
Right, so if you're left to forward usually, then do it on the other side of the ladder and lead with your front foot.
If you can, try to get your core to move forward and back.
Whole body forward, whole body back. We're not just sort of like tipping our feet out while our body stays in place.
When you get better at this one, you should feel, watch it turning. So on this one, you got to be a little careful not turning your front foot in while you're jab stepping.
So do both your feet move at the same time, or are you pushing off one foot and the
Well,
other
one
one
foot-
goes?
Yes, one foot has a little bit, leaves the ground a little bit later. So you're
Okay.
almost lifting the front foot and pushing on the back.
Okay, thank you.
So you should feel yourself fall in, and then you're going to lift your back foot and push your front foot, pushes your back. Doesn't have to be a huge distance. The idea here is that you're shifting your center just barely enough to go back and forward a little bit.
I'm sweating, so I can stop now.
Then I would have stopped after my second one. So if you haven't already, switch your feet, funny foot, and do it again. Make sure Libby gets that foot back. She needs to land on it. See how she, yeah. Yes,
Hi, Josh.
that's better. Yes. Yeah, that one right there.
Do we put our heel down on our back foot, or are we always on the balls of our feet?
I stay on the balls of my feet.
Okay.
This one's a very fast drill. You'll see boxers do this. They never really shoot forward and back. They tend to wave in and out. Their body doesn't move well, only because they're doing it for speed. A lot like you see in the video right now. So, and that's fine as well. There's two different ways to think about this as long as you feel. Right, you can see his body stays straight, but he's making very fast passes. So he's getting quick feet in there. Nice, Dan. Those are big. Those are. All right, Big Fist, I want you to do it on the way back, Big Fist. I want you to do this. I want you to move that upper body with your lower body. Nice and slow. Push in, out, not slower. See how the bottom of your body is moving? Think about dropping your butt on the way back. Forward and butt, and then drop back.
It's real hard.
There you go. Much better, Big Fist. Now you're moving in and out of ring. There we go. You get the idea better. Yep. Very good. Elsewin, that looks good. You're doing a nice job. Best, you're crushing it. Just checking in with a few other people. Bridget, Redkin, Kelly, you guys doing all right over there? You keeping up? If you're not, just let us know. We can slow down a little bit. These guys like doing extra work, so it's good.
I'm keeping up. Thank you.
No problem.
Bridget just told me she's in socks on the carpet.
Oh,
So that wasn't her
that's
best
wrong.
choice.
No,
So I've recommended that, like me, she puts on her fighting shoes for next week.
exactly. Nice job, William. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next.
All right. Next one is the switch foot. So this time what we're doing is our body is actually basically staying in place and our feet are switching underneath us. So I'm starting with 1 foot in, 1 foot out and switching them. Then I go to the next box, switch, switch. Ideally, my body is going to stay right over the edge of the ladder here and just go in a straight line.
That's the way, Elfin. Keep those feet straight, though. Don't turn the hip too much. There you go. Good. Nice, Bess. That's the way, Brew. Looking good. Nice shot, Sivert. Dramaticus, you're looking great, man. You're really getting it much more agile. Blue, straighten that back. Don't make wrong mother come over there. Want everybody to remember, go ahead, switch to me for 1 second. I want everybody to remember this belt line, your hips. If I were to take a sword and put it on my hip, it should always be horizontal to the ground. So as I look down, you can see it tilt. Sometimes even if I don't look down, but I kick my butt out, what we call duck butt, it tilts again. All right? Should be nice and flat, horizontal to the ground. So as we're doing this, okay? This is with all the exercises. Having your hips, having your hips always be nice and flat, keeps your center good. It really allows for your shots to come in at better angles. Where as soon as you get a little bit of duck butt, then you see my shoulders change and now I'm angling towards the ground. So even if I try to pull my shoulders back, it creates a big arc. And that's not the way. You want your hips. Your hips drive the stacking motion of your body. And through that stacking motion also allows your power to be delivered better. All right. All right, Saib, next one.
All right, hot catch.
I hate this one.
We'll start this way so you can see a little better of my back. So, hop out to the side and in the box.
See how her head's not moving. So no jumping up and down.
Trying to stay flat as much as we can. And then backwards, of course.
Good.
Get lower, you'll feel it nice in your quads.
My quads. Hopefully everybody's starting to feel these finally. Libby looks nice and tired, so that's good.
Right as they finish.
Starting to feel them.
Slow.
Nice, Blue. Looking good there. So this was a good core builder. Nessa, you're jamming on those. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Blue, drive your legs out and pull them back in quick. That's why you don't have that's why you're bobbing, is because they're not being driven out.
Okay, push with that hips again.
Exactly.
All right. So this next one, we're gonna get our face facing down the ladder. I'm lining up my front foot with one of the rungs here. We're gonna do that sort of jab, step, jump thing forward, 2 rungs on the ladder. And then we're gonna hop back 1. Rinse and repeat all the way down.
We'll be doing a lot of this later. This is a really nice step. It actually works. I use this fighting. Make sure you are not turning that front foot in when you're making that long jab. All right, we don't want to turn it across our opponent.
For a lot of
Unless
people,
that's your natural style, I don't care. But just make sure you're not turning it in more than normal.
the reason a lot of people turn it in is because you're trying to drive with that front hip and you'll end up sideways. You need to drive with the back hip. It'll keep you facing forward.
Exactly. Well said. People have been doing this for a while. Better be it more than just one step by now.
In this one, you can switch stance to whatever is the abnormal foot forward for you and try it again. You can also do it jumping backwards 2 and forwards 1. A lot of variations.
So that back 2, forward 1 makes your opponent feel like you're leaving, but then you come back really fast. Remember to switch your feet.
So we're showing this with the push step, but you can also do this with the shuffle step. I have to do that because my Achilles is hurting on one foot.
Nice job, Elflin. Good. And then back for Libby. Good. Good. Libby gets the idea. Remember not to pop up because. There you go. Better. Nice job, Elizabeth. Straighten that back, though. Get those shoulders back a little bit. Yes. Don't crunch yourself too much up. Big fist. Be careful of your back foot. Right? You're turning it, you're getting it linear with your front foot, so try not to do that. Again, these are small things, so we're just trying to catch them as we go. And we keep fixing it. Keep those hips square, even when you're jumping forward and back. Better. Yes, that's nice practice there, Fox. That's exactly what the idea. They jab at you and then they go away. Yep. Nice, Dan. Yeah, those back steps are hard, William, but you're doing good. All right. Now we got everybody tired. What's next, side?
This is our last one. It's really like 4 in 1, but that's not important.
And then we'll take a drink.
All right, I guess this will be a better this way, or maybe the foot cam. I don't know.
I don't like this.
So this is it's kind of like hopscotch, but we're just moving 1 foot at a time instead of jumping with both. So I'm gonna step out to the side and in the middle. Out, in.
Again, not your head stays nice and flat.
And then you can go backwards, of course.
And you go backwards with the same foot you started with, you go backwards with. And you're gonna try to make this nice and fast. You look how stacked her back is. Her hips are nice and horizontal to the ground. Good. There, nice. That's exactly. So you start with that one, and then when you're done, you start with the other foot instead of the one, like if you started with the left, you're gonna start with the right foot. And this gets actually, you think it's as easy, it's not, because our brain's used to starting with 1 foot. We're trying to break that.
And Louis will demonstrate super speed.
I just want to know when I'm going to get to starting with the other foot right.
After you practice it enough times.
I guess.
Switch.
That's my throwaway.
What you say wrong, Welder?
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
Unless
okay.
you can hear me wheezing from my house.
No, I was just saying switch foot backwards is really hard, or off foot backwards is really hard.
It is very hard, isn't it? The good part about that is we know if you're doing that and it's hard, it's something you can work on, right? We can work on speed. We can work on making sure our hips are good, and we can work on dropping in our stance. We can work on burst. We can work on distance. There's so many different things you can work on with the ladder that's what these ladder drills are for.
Libby
That's a
has
great
good.
piece. Go ahead.
Let Libby know she has good flow. If she sits a little bit lower, it'll be easier and smoother.
The other good part about these is, nice, she does have good flow, you're right. So the other good part about these is it helps our endurance, right? It really helps our physicality. I think that's probably for 90% of the SCA, it's one of the biggest pieces that most fighters miss. Is it's easy to go out and fight. It's hard to go out and do the things you need to do, and push yourself and push your opponent, find all of these.
Your mic's cutting out on us.
Oh, physically, if you're stronger than your opponent, you can use that. And that's what we're trying to get to. In this case, physically means you have better endurance, you have better flow. And of course, the better balance and flow you have, the easier it is for you. So it allows you to wear your opponents out because you're able to do it for even longer. So that's what we're trying to apply in all of it. All right. So I'm not just hopefully the Billy Banks of the SCA here, guys. Is we're trying to get stuff we can use, and you're going to see this in the next well, probably not in the next group of exercises, although we will show the advanced folks. I'd like those guys to use their sword and board. No throwing the first round. In your second time, go ahead and throw if you've already known how to do that, and we talked about it. But then we'll show you how the sword works into this movement. And we'll also show you how the distance of this movement creates different sword angles. Because I want you guys to understand that, yes, this is building agility, but it's also building what we need to use in a fight. I mean, I can tell you, when Rongwalder, and you can attest to this. Everybody get water, please. Rongwalder, you can attest to this. I showed Rongwalder just that simple switch foot. And he was like, I'm not sure. Why would you do that? And then he did it. And I was on me, and I was like, and threw a blow immediately, because it almost like natural that he switched his feet and threw a blow that hooked really deep behind me. I'm like, and in my head, I was thinking, maybe I shouldn't have shown him that. But I never thought about really using a switch foot in fighting. And then all of a sudden it creates this whole different angle, and it was just beautiful. I was like, Rongwalder made me appreciate why I was doing it for agility, and then he showed me how to do it with why you would use it inside of a blow.
For my part,
do you agree?
For me, I hate exercise. So just doing it for exercise was pointless. So there had to be a fighting application. And when I saw the switch foot, especially as a left-hander, I was like, this is a bad idea. My mind said, no, this is stupid. But these three have been working on this and doing research. So I'm only an idiot if I don't at least try to figure out what's going on here. So I told myself in my own head, all right, I'm going to assume that there's merit here, and I haven't seen it yet. Where can I find it? And that's what I'm doing. He showed me how to move my feet properly, just like we're doing with the basic exercises. And then he let me try it in a fighting situation where I could switch it up. I found I could use it as a threat. And then after a couple of times, I realized without changing my distance to my opponent at all, I could actually throw about 6 inches deeper with that switch foot.
All right. I think Dan, did Dan need something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So doing these like weekly, right? And then we work on them. Will this help basically give us the muscle memory that when we're going where we want to go, like say we're sliding or crossing left or right, 45s, will this kind of train our brains to do that for us basically if we keep pushing it?
Yeah, so this is a technique. And I am a big, I'm not a big, lizard brain guy, okay? But where the idea of without thought, that Bruce Lee method comes, is in the execution of technique. We shouldn't think about the blow we're going to throw. In other words, as soon as I'm thinking, I'm going to set this up and throw the snap, I set it up. I think about setting that up. But when the snap is thrown, I've done it a billion times. That should be natural. I shouldn't have to think about that. And that same thing translates into your feet. I'm like, I want to be on that side of his body. I'm going to push him over here because I've realized that he turns his feet a little and I can get on the outside of his feet. And then when you go to execute that with a technique, a foot technique, the technique itself should be without thought. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
All right, so the next one, if everybody wants to go ahead and get their pels, you can see over at Louie inside, they already put their pel out. She'll jump over to that. There you go. You can see that this is our rotational pel. So we don't do a lot of rotational drills in the SCA. We do a lot of pass by, and that's mostly because we're never turning our feet when we attempt to essentially go past throw it. We'll fall in and we'll throw a shot and we'll pass by our opponent. And what we're trying to do here is apply more rotational traffic or more rotational movement around our opponent. Also, what that does is it helps make sure that your feet and hips are always oriented towards your opponent instead of just running by them and having your feet and sword and shield in the wrong place. So we want these fundamental rotational drills to be part of our normal movement. Here is where you'll start seeing the distance stuff come into place. And that will be, we'll start with a gather step, which is basically a drop step and your back foot gathers. Saib's gonna do one now. So here you are, she drops and then she gathers. These are like, we practice this over the ladder. The trick is that foot that's dropping out, look how her toes turn in a little bit because it has to. If Saib, go ahead and turn it out like you were just not, see now all of a sudden she's moving sideways, getting farther right. So her angles are wrong on her opponent. So you have to watch. There you go. And you can see how her hips are always oriented towards her opponent, in which that's where we fire from all the time the best way we can. So this is what we want to do. The next step is going to be a shuffle step. Go ahead and get at the front there, Si. So the next step, and we're going to go through these. I just want to show everybody real quick. Next one's going to be that shuffle step that we do.
Shuffling or crossing?
Oh yeah, we don't do the shuffle step here. It's cross step, sorry. Which is almost, this is a little bit deeper than a shuffle. You can do this as a shuffle if you don't have it big as a cross, but you can see her foot just comes across. Again, her foot turns, that front foot landing first turns to make sure it's still pointing at her opponent. Get where they can actually see that. There you go. You see how that foot turns? Watch if she doesn't turn that foot. Go ahead and don't turn that foot. Don't turn it. Yeah, and see how now her foot's sideways to her opponent and her hips sideways. So see there, she turns it, she's in good form. All right. And then the last one will be a combination of the two. So everybody, I'm going to check and you guys give me a thumbs up. If you didn't get some water, make sure you got the water. I don't want anybody passing out. And if you need to fill your bottle, fill your bottle. And we got the paddle. If you don't have a paddle and you don't have the room for this, what we do this is put the paddle against the wall and only go halfway around and then go back. Okay, so that way you have room to still go around the paddle a little bit. If you don't have the room here we got a lot of snow outside, so we're doing the best we can. All right, so for the folks that have been around for a while, sword and shield, watch the gap. In other words, your sword and shield should not be moving, always perfectly static. Okay, and you get in that form, and once around, if you've been practicing throwing, then once around, and second time around, go ahead and throw the shot on the ball. There we go. You can see sides. Yep. Good, side. Yes. And now, yes. If you don't have enough height in your base or in your wherever you are, use a small stick. You don't need a big stick to throw this. You can use a small stick to throw as well. So in this case, Saib is going ahead, finishing her footwork, and then throwing the blow. Later, what you'll see, the idea is as that foot hits the ground, you're going to throw that blow, all in one step.
You'll show them all together.
Nice, Louis. You look good there. That's the idea. That shot's coming as your foot's hitting the ground. Germanicus, make sure that your feet turn as you move. Good. That's better. Sometimes we get so focused on our swords that we forget our lower body. So make sure that lower body gets engaged first. That's the most important piece. Alfwin, very nice. Let's see it, Blue. Good. I want those hips a little bit more under. Try to get it back even straighter. Pop your pelvis out towards us a little bit. Okay. There you go, like you're sitting. There you go. Better. Good. Your movement's very nice. Remember to turn that back foot in when you land. There you go. That's better. Almost did a cross step there.
The one
Good.
that was supposed to leave with a Thomas and Polite company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always hard, is to make sure that you're turning those feet, because we're just not used to it. That's the way, Grimmer. That's that nice way to just take little steps right now. That's really good. Yeah, make sure you're falling into that foot. That's the way. Good. Yeah, it gets a lot smoother. Now get those hips under you're tilted. No, not lower. Tilted forward. Yeah. Yeah, so yes, exactly. Yes, get that back. Remember, you're a big guy. If you have to, look at the ceiling. You're fighting a guy your height. Remember that. William, that's nice. Good. Now try not to roll that sword out as much at the beginning. Yes, push. There you go. Good. Good. The idea is your sword should be going at your opponent when you throw, not out and then in. At least in what these gentlemen are doing. If you're a rotational thrower, that's fine. If you're on your shoulder and you're a rotational thrower, just make sure that your rotation is going in like it should be. Don't hold it back. In other words, if you don't want your, on that rotational thrower, you don't necessarily want your hand to come back and then go out. You want that shoulder to come forward and that hand to slide off of that.
Siegfried, you're bobbing. You're dropping to move and then standing up to throw. That low point when you move is the height you should stay at continuously. Can you feel how you come up?
Yeah, because he straightened his legs.
Yep. You're trying to hit harder. Don't hit harder. Hit more accurate, faster, and lighter.
Nice job, Louis. That looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and do the next one.
Louis got it.
All right.
Cross step.
There it is. There you go. All right. So Louis is going to do the cross step here.
So the cross step going to the right. Basically, step with your cross. Your knees are bent a little bit and point your toes in toward your opponent. Then finish it. And try and keep your center moving smoothly.
Right, and then on the way back, your back foot's going across. You can see, and that back foot again, you're making sure your foot, when you get that land at your back, your hips are back on the pedal. So for the folks that have been doing this for a while, I expect a little bit more swing and distance, and with that. So show them the swing and distance with that front foot crossover. You can see that he's really waiting until last minute to get that foot to catch him. So you get that little bit of burst and bang, you fall. All right, so that'll get a little bit more distance. So for you guys that have been here for a while, push yourselves, okay? Nothing wrong with pushing yourself. Find out, make sure you don't push yourself so that you're doing it totally wrong, but trust yourself. You have to build trust in this fall that you're gonna catch yourself, okay?
Do you try to hide your lateral movement of the body until the last moment with this?
So no, what we're hiding really, because our body is shifting first, believe it or not, your legs aren't moving. So But what we're hiding is that up and down motion. Okay. You'll see later when we do our fall-ins, we hide, when you're falling directly at an opponent, you can hide that motion. But when you're going around them, the only way to hide that motion is by not moving your feet right away. So what happens is most people, the largest motion a person will see is usually either your hands or your sword or your feet. So what happens as soon as you lift a foot, I know, and I'm going to respond. In this case, you don't lift your foot until you're almost falling into that spot you're going to throw a blow. So that gives you much more, a little bit more smoothness, which is also essentially hiding your movement. But that really comes into case when you're 10 feet away from an opponent or at C range and you want to fall into A range, or you're out of range and you want to fall into B range, either of those. Then the motion is really, really hidden by not moving your feet while your body's coming directly at them, because they lose all perspective.
Oh, so that's how it helps you lie to them about what you're gonna do.
Exactly. Yeah, all we're doing is changing lines of perspective. So that's it. Oh, yep, just cross over. There you go. Yep, yeah, and that's exactly it, Alvin. You just lead with that hip, and it naturally falls into space. The next piece is just make sure that foot angle is the right angle. So as you're falling to your right, make sure your foot is turned out. Yes, there you go, so that it's still on the outside of your opponent. Yes, exactly. That's the way.
The last one was pretty smooth, Blue.
Yeah, and Elvin, you already were doing that with the crossover on the back. Your feet were looking good.
Hey, Vigvis, shift your Pel over so you can do half circles instead of full. You're doing a good job. So now's the time to make sure that you can keep a mental eye on your range. You're starting to fight close only because of your limited space. Don't let the space choke you.
Yeah, William, just make sure you turn that foot out on those while you're rotating. Make sure your hips stay on that opponent.
Nice, Vigvis. You're covering a lot more space now.
Yeah, you can. So think about that foot turning earlier in the movement, William.
I don't like being that close, so thanks for the heads up there.
What you're getting is you're kind of leading with your foot still pointing the wrong way. Yeah. Think of your hips always. Yes, there you go. See, that way their foot already points as you leave the ground. There we go. That keeps your hips more square to your pelt. Good, Germanicus. That was a nice throw on the drop foot. Good job.
Hey, Germanicus is focusing on his feet, and look how nicely it spins him from side to side.
It does. It does. He's spinning really nicely. All right, Libby, let's see yours real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that Pel now. There you go. Good. Nice. Your foot is turning right at the beginning. That's perfect. Tell her that she's doing a great job. That's exactly what we're looking for. Now let's see the other way. Good. Yeah. All right. She's looking a little tired there. All right. All right, so we're gonna go on to the next hardest one here. And this is gonna be a little bit of what we call our Lomachenko drill, but what we're doing is we're combining the first two things we worked on. So we're gonna do a small gather step with a big whipping crossover step. We do have a little bit of change in this one. Side will do the easy one first. So you can see the first step is about a 6-inch step, and then you sweep your foot. What that first 6-inch step gives you is a little bit of distance, and it shifts your balance so you'll get this sliding fall almost into it. So it allows you to whip that back leg even farther around. So if you're counting the number of steps that you need to get around the pel, you should find that with the gather step, for me, it's usually about 6. With the cross step, it's usually about 4 or 5. And with this little drop, or with the little gather and cross step, I get a big whip, and it takes about 4. For those using sword and shield or want to use it, make sure that you're in perfect form. Make sure your feet are good. Make sure your hips are horizontal to the ground. Don't let those shoulders lead. Grimmer, especially you. No looking down on people anymore. All right, we're going to give everybody a chance to finish those, and then we're going to go after the hard one. So if you're fighting funny foot, you have to kind of modify that a little bit, and you'd go counter rotational.
Yeah.
So the next one, just so everybody knows, the next one's a little bit harder in that we can do it the traditional way, but what we found is your feet tend to get crossed a good bit. So what we added is a forward step first. Side will show you is freeze your foot up, your back foot up to sweep behind, and then you're back into stance. Forward, back into stance. So your gather step is actually step forward and then back into your stance. We found that we just get much more distance this way than a front foot sweep, a step and a front foot sweep. What that usually does is it causes us to push away from our pel or lose range, and it doesn't give us as much sweep. So little step forward, backward sweep again. You got it. That's the way, Libby. Make sure you take that step forward. And when you take that gathering step, your first step, make sure you're pointing your feet the right way. You guys all know how to point your feet now. I expect you to get it right every time. And at some point I'll get it right, and then we'll be all happy. I will tell you guys, this is the hardest. These rotational steps are super hard not to get a little bit of duck butt. In other words, you will lose your stacking of your body. Really work. Don't look at your feet. Don't look down. Try to look at the opponent's eyes where they would be, or even the top of their head, to try to force your stacking of your body. Yeah, Brew, I don't expect you to have much trouble with this, Brew, because you tend to already stack your body pretty well. You actually have a little bit of lean back, and I'd like to get the lean back out and a shift into the center to get the lean, that type of deal. Do it again, Grimmer. I want to see the other way around. That's it. So if you guys have if you want and you're looking to push yourself, especially if people have been here for a while, go ahead and switch your feet and do these again. But we don't tend to do that, but I'm just working through some people's on these videos. Good. Nice, Grimmer. Make sure you point those toes as you turn it. Yep, there you go. That first step, make sure you turn those toes in. There you go. Good. There, you see how your body just fell into that last step? That's exactly what you're looking for on each step.
Elfwin, make your first step much shorter. I think of the first one as beginning to shift my weight, but not actually stepping.
Sivert's doing it funny foot, so he's practicing nice and slow. I love it.
Beautiful, Nessa.
That's a pain, goofy foot.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
I feel called out.
Well, you should be practicing. If you want to try, you should be.
I can't do it right foot or left foot forward. It's killing me. I have to pick up my leg with my arms and move it.
No, but that's good, right? You know what you have to work on.
It is so freaking hard. And of course, I'm dancing around my desk here. No pal. It's okay, buddy. Oops.
Vigfuss, sit lower.
Oops.
Lower and you lose the hop. Yeah.
Awesome. We're just kind of watching and getting a little bit. So for those that are already advanced, go ahead. Let's see. Make sure you get that timing of the sword in this one. Make sure that shield stays perfect. Remember not to lift the bottom. Let's still keep it nice and relaxed. Exactly. And then that strike pops out at the end. And again, we don't have to have power here. What we have to have is good timing, and tension in the body, that little burst. Let's see it, Blue.
Not sure where exactly we're at because my daughter was stealing all my bandwidth, so I had to.
Oh no, you're back. So we're at the Lomachenko step. So yep, that's the one. Good. So just go ahead and do that back. Do it one way and then do it back the other way. This will actually be good because this is something you can use with a fighter going around them kind of into their 45s. So start at a 45. There you go. Start, yep, right there. Yeah. And then back into the other corner now. There you go, and back. And get them faster. Exactly, good.
Don't duck, bite. Hey, Blue, I'm going to talk about something that's in your head, so only you can confirm or deny, so you take what you want from it. What I see in your stance typically, when there's a weakness in it, it's because you're sort of hunching forward, and the feeling I get is what's going on in your head is you are compressed and ready to explode or come up against an opponent, as opposed to sitting back, being open, and thinking of it more as a game of tag and you can't touch me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm taking that step, wanting to deliver a blow with power.
Yes, that's what it looks like to me, as opposed to one with speed and relaxation.
Good.
Tina, do you feel how your body weight's changed? You can actually go other directions now.
Hey, Nessa, just making sure you're doing okay over there. And I hear that it's that being on the toes. So the big part for you is just going to be watching how much on the toes you are. And then as we get more strength in your feet, and it hopefully will help take some of that, that pressure out and build some strength there.
I keep switching to goofy foot accidentally. That's the problem.
All right, Nessa, let's see ya. So don't throw on the first one, throw on the second one. Do it again. Are you doing? Oh, he's making you. I got you.
Yeah, I told her to throw on the first one so she learned to throw a shot coming in.
Okay. So yeah, you can. So just make sure she can at least throw the second one. And Nessa, if you're hurting that bad, I want you to stop. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The second one, she said too far of distance. So just learn to throw the first shot, and then the second one, I was thinking of teaching her to do that after she just learns to step in and then step out.
Oh, okay. Nope, that's fine. That's good. You're just layering it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you're layering it. All right, Dan, you're looking really good over there.
Yeah, okay, nope. Have to put that way the heck.
Hey, Dan, what I want you to do is I want you to see the tip of your bottom tip of your shield. Hold it up. Yep. Drop it. Elbow. Get lazy elbow. There, like put it. The bottom should essentially be down. Let me grab mine. Hold on. Let me grab one that I have somewhere. Here we go. Hold on.
Your shield's still over here in my garage.
Yeah, I got something I can use. So, Dan, this is what I see. Okay, you got a big shield here, and the point is way up here. It leaves a huge gap between your leg and the shield that people can throw in. What you need to do is take this hand and relax your finger. Don't hold the grip so hard. Like really hard grip. Now let it just hang there. Almost like you're not even holding it. Let's see what you look like, Dan. Go back to his. Yes, that's the way your shield. Even less. Let that tip fall even more. Yes, right there. Good.
Okay.
Much better. That makes it a lot harder for them to get under that shield.
Okay, I was worried because I'm not sure yet how much of this has to be up above my helmet.
It doesn't, because you're going to duck. You're going to hold it. Usually I hold it about eye height. I look over that front edge, and then I just duck to make the block.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it.
All right, everybody.
Part of you explaining that duck is looking in the videos and seeing multiple other people holding a shield, like doing it at the same time to illustrate what you is great.
That's good. And we'll talk about that more next time as well. So I'm not teaching everybody how to fight. You know, you guys all have the people you train with. I'm happy to show you how we do it. If you'd like to try that, that's okay. But the other piece about using and building core is that the idea is not to use your shield to make all your to make your blocks. It's to duck behind your shield to make your blocks, or to use your distance to make those blocks. So that becomes the thing, okay? All right. So the next series, that was our first series of rotation stuff. I'll have, I'm gonna have Louis show you. Louis, can you do the triangle step? So in this one, you're just going to stand at the 45 to your pel. Louis, stand like a different 45 so people see it. There you go, right there. You're good.
Right. So with the triangle step or the compass step, basically you're going to take your back foot is going to come across, and you're basically going to rotate around. So you're reversing your stance.
Right. So this is a gather step because you're stepping out, you're doing a drop step, and then you're gathering your foot. But it's also a switch step that's occurring inside of it because you're switching your feet. Does that make sense? There you go. Yeah, Germanicus, exactly. That's good. Here's the foot cam.
When you say you're switching your feet, do you mean you're switching the lead foot?
Yes, you're switching your lead foot. As if you watch, he takes his back foot, he does a drop step, and then his back foot becomes his front foot.
Okay,
and then
cool.
back again.
Thank you.
No problem. This is also the reason why we learn to do all of these as much as possible both ways. That way you can do these things.
Yeah, to me, this feels a lot like the in-out motion of a parallel skiing turn, where you have one foot down in the snow and the other foot up, and then you switch your feet in that turn too.
It almost makes me want to ski and see if I can do it.
What? I don't think I followed what was.
No, it's part of a. It's part of a ski move.
Louis, can I see you do it a couple more times?
All right, Louis. Yeah, you see how he's turning his foot as he's coming across, and that foot lands right to where it's on the outside of his opponent. So, you know. Oh, there we go. Good. This is the overhead, guys. So you can really see why this is called the compass step.
If it helps people, the reason he was calling it the triangle step is you think of a triangle with the flat part facing the opponent.
Right.
The back foot is on the back point of that triangle, and then you switch the feet over so the other foot is on that back point. Move a foot forward, move a foot back, move a foot forward, move a foot back.
And this is it's actually called the compass or triangle step in fencing. So.
All of the like period long sword styles and stuff. That's where we took it from. Hema, all that.
Now, if you have a sword, make sure when you're dropping into your sword side, that turns into a deep wrap. And then, and Louis is going to show you that right now.
I'm going to show you the triangle.
Oh, there's the triangle. So watch him step. Here's his step. And his step. That's why it's a triangle step. So now, Louis, show you where the swords, if you're practicing where you might want to throw a sword. So here he is. He makes that step and he throws on the drop. And again.
And what I'm doing is I'm getting a little more range.
There you go. Good. You could also throw the wrap on the offside, and you could do the hook wrap on the drop step towards the sword side. There you go.
So when he takes the step to the side, his hips are not flat; they're on an angle to his opponent. Like
they should be the opposite of where you were before. Like if you're starting a funny foot, whatever your correct hip position is, that's what it should be in the new position.
Okay.
Louis tends to overcorrect his back foot when he goes to the right.
That's what I think. Cool bean, thanks.
You feel it, Louis?
I tend to go for a little bit more range. So
yeah, but it turns you sideways. So,
right.
Which I appreciate.
So this is a good exercise. You'll find that the nice part on that triangle step when you're dropping out is that it allows, because your hip is forward, especially for us with the standard feet, your hip is forward. Like Elizabeth, you got longer range because that hip is forward. So you get deeper shots on the wraps and things like that. And because the other hip is forward, when you throw the offside on the shield side, Louis, go ahead and throw the offside on the drop to the shield side. Again, now that hip is, yep, right there. Yeah, so here's this hip is forward, good rep. Now the other way, and then throw the offside. Now that hip is forward, offside. Offside head. Now the good part here is the other hip is forward and it gives him deeper offside. So either way here, you kind of get a deeper offside because of your hip changes. There you go. Yeah. And Louis is getting extra deep there somehow. I can't, it makes my arms hurt just looking at it. So.
He's good like that.
All right. All right. So how about let's do the next one on that series. This time we're going to do the shuffle one, right? Or the TikTok.
I gotta drop out. Thanks, everyone.
No problem, buddy.
Appreciate the feedback. It was good practicing with you.
Awesome. Nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
TikTok version is kind of the inverse of that one. Instead of reaching out to this side of the triangle and then moving back, instead we're going to bring the foot here and then open back out. Just like we were doing down the ladder before. You don't get necessarily as much distance around, but you can get a whole lot of angle.
So it's a shuffle version.
Yes. So now we're shuffling instead of drop stepping. So there is a drop step in there, but instead of gathering, we shuffle. And really, if you get this right, you can actually shuffle your feet to either side of that ladder. So you can get a little distance with that swinging foot.
Demo that one. I'm not real good at it.
Right. So Louis is going to show you a little bit here.
It obscures your feet.
Yeah, there we go.
From overhead view. There we go.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of cross happening. Not huge.
Yeah, but you can actually, once you get the timing right, it becomes more like a shuffle. There you go. And you can see that he's getting a lot more distance compared to a triangle step.
I'm gonna switch to it again.
Looking good, Blue. Let's see it, Elfwin. All right, so right now, Elfwin, you're doing the triangle step. Now we want to shuffle instead of the gather. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Good. And as you get better at this, I want to see you really put some energy pushing your hip around. Yes. Exactly. Good. You can feel the energy being developed if you're really pushing it around.
Hey, Bronis, are we switching feet on this one?
Yes, we're still switching feet on the TikTok step.
Thanks.
All right, let's see. Shoot to Libby there. Let's see how she's doing.
Aelfwin, your shirt bores me.
Ah,
I keep not being able to stay stacked on this one for some reason. Do you have any suggestions on how to keep hips under on this one?
so try to drop your butt a little bit. So drop your butt, get literally, if you have to, and it's the same thing. I have the same problem.
Drop your butt and turn your foot like we've been doing with everything. Your foot has to turn first.
Yeah. Also, if you think about swinging your hip along with your feet, yeah, turning that hip along with your feet, you'll kind of, it all come together a little bit.
If you treat it a little like a drop step and shift your hips first, then the shuffle happens faster.
Let's do it again, Libby. I want to see it. Sorry. Woo, look at that. Now she can switch her feet a little bit. There you go.
It is hard to switch the feet with that. If I do a little 6-inch drop step before I go, it's real smooth, but without it, it's awkward.
Yeah, so you have to get more rotation. That hip almost has to swing forward to get the foot switch. But it really does get you behind your opponent.
Yeah, when you're going toward the right, it's almost like your left hip is kind of staying still and your right hip is whipping around.
Yes. Let's see, watching Libby here. Take her first step out. There you go. Feet come together. Yep, and then the foot out again. There you go. Good. Yep. You okay? Yep, that's an over example. Yep, that's the over example of it. That's perfect.
And it's definitely easier to think of it more like a triangle and you're replacing your feet in the middle at the bottom point before you start trying to work on range.
I'm doing something wrong. My feet get in my way on the cross. They make me want to go lateral.
If you do this right, it doesn't actually become a cross. So the one foot will start sweeping across, the other foot will release.
What it feels like to me is when I'm going towards sword side, when the shield foot kicks over, it either kicks across towards the front, in which case it's rotating my hips the wrong direction that I want to go afterwards, or I have to kick back, in which case I don't go over, I go back.
So usually what I do is I kick my hip forward, kind of, you see how Louis is turning? So if you leave your feet where they are and you turn your feet or hip, push your hip over, your feet naturally replace themselves.
Okay.
Does that make, just do it in the exact same spot like Louis is. He's just doing it really tiny and he's using his hip to drive it. Because what that does is as its hip turns, it brings the other foot with it. And that's where you get that shuffle in there.
The hip turn is actually almost like you're
yeah, it was almost like
it's almost like you're pushing the hip like you would do on a sword shot.
Yes.
And reverse stance for the other way.
I must be doing something wrong too. The back foot on the triangle, if I take a small step first, then I can do it easier than if I try and do it without that.
Really, the outside foot is going to come to the middle, and then the middle foot's going to come to the outside. So instead of leading with the bottom of the triangle first, like we did last time, we're going to lead with the other foot. But we're going to get a little quick with it, and we're going to let that foot kick the other foot out of the way while it's getting there. So it's almost like your one foot's going to bounce the other foot out of the way.
All right, so let me explain this and see if it's working. What I feel like is when we did the triangle, your focus is on that foot shooting out. With this, your feet cannot move first. Your hips have to move. I almost feel like I have to twist and lean. And then when I start to fall, throw my feet over.
You are nailing it on the head.
Okay. Because you've been describing it as put your feet here and then here, and I can't move my feet and get my hips to go with them. I have to move my hips and let my feet catch up.
Right. And that's a wonderful way to describe it. Every once in a while, I actually have to think about it that way myself because I don't get the right turn. But that's exactly it. It's almost like you're whipping your hip instead of your feet. And then your feet just catch up with your hip.
Yes, it's still a little clumsy, but I can actually do it and my back doesn't want to go out.
Perfect.
Right. The more you do it, the more comfortable it feels, and you'll fine tune it.
Germanicus, who else was having a trouble with that? Was it Grimmer or Germanicus?
Oh, it wasn't me. I was just noting that what happens with me is it's almost as though my rear foot wants to catch the other foot in a position to catch the fall.
Right. So yeah, the trick, if you get too flat-footed on this, then you really end up catching yourself. So, Grimmer, let's switch over to Grimmer. I want to see that. He's having a little bit of a rough time. There you go. There you go. That's it. Yes. That is exactly it, brother.
Right. Now, when you go into the right, push that right hip forward a little bit. Give it a little bit of snap forward.
Yeah, he's having trouble with his legs still, so he's a little bit at a time right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was, you got it. You see how it just switches, right? It's kind of like a washing machine. That cycle in, yes, that torquing cycle in a washing machine. That's it. Anybody else having any issues with that? If you do, just speak up. We can totally. Yes, if you want those feet to come together. And that'll give you your whip. Yep. Yes. Now, yes, there you go. And there you go. Yeah.
Aelfwin's got it now. She's not stepping. She's actually leading with her hip now. Now it's going.
Perfect. Dan, how you doing on this? Let's see Dan's. That's looking good, Si. I like you're getting a little bit more distance on those now.
Yeah, the wording we just got with the sort of forcing the hip shift first is helping.
Okay.
That was apparently what I needed to make my body do it.
All right, good. Glad it helped you.
So this is TikTok because your feet are basically a pendulum, the bottom of the pendulum?
Because we saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, found it on TikTok.
It's literally a boxing guy doing it on TikTok. Do it again, Dan. You're looking pretty good, though.
But it does kind of work with the whole pendulum idea.
It does. It absolutely does.
And now you learn how words get their origins.
That's it. Nice.
That looks good.
That looks good, Dan. We do this standing, back and forth really fast in front of the pedal, like you're standing in front of him and you're never letting him catch back up with you, right? If you go look at some of the Lomachenko stuff, you'll see him do that in front of his opponents all the time. He'll grab their hand and switch over here, and they'll grab the hand and switch over here. You know, and the guys, it's like they never get comfortable as they turning towards him. He's pulling them and turning them, pulling them and turning them.
How effective is that actually in armor when you're weighted down that much?
It depends on how much you're weighted down. I mean, you know, it's some of it depends on how much strength you have. I mean, some of that probably could do that very easily. Bigger guys could do that very easily. Littler guys is going to do it faster. So sometimes you might have to duck underneath something. I do it. So I'll be there. I won't do the TikTok. I'll do the normal version of this one with my feet stayed. But I'll wait for somebody to throw a sword shot, and I'll duck underneath and drop into it. Bang. And then as he turns, I'll shift back again.
Oh.
Right, okay.
There are places in these ones where you're actually coiling your body a little bit in that twisting motion.
Say that again.
I said there's places in these where you're actually coiling your body a little bit in the twisting motion. So as your hips are rotating one way and your upper body is not really rotating as much, now you're building a place where you can draw energy from.
If you were doing that and I was stuck and for some reason couldn't move, if I jam my shield out into where you're going to be when you're coming to my sword side, does that stop you or no?
The trick would be, what happens is I'm going to be in one quarter, one on your angle. So if you're to, I would have to really figure it out. It depends on range, is what it's going to come. If somebody jams their shield, if they push their shield straight out, I might just do it the other way and go deeper on them. Right?
Remember, I'm evil lefty, so you'd be coming to your right.
So even worse, you just keep, so do this one, but do it instead of a tick-tock. What we do is we do this rotational. So here I am, I'm going to be the evil lefty. Actually, go ahead, Louis. Are you going to do this? Yeah. So watch the screen right now. Louis is going to do it. He's going to do the evil lefty. All right. So here he is. He's going to tick-tock right over. There you go. There you go. You see how that side right there. Now, he could stick his shield out. Go ahead and get that back on the other side, back where you were. He's going to stick that shield out, right? So if he sticks his shield out, she could actually go the other way, and she could just do a drop step outside. So you're going to read what your opponent's giving you. So if he sticks his shield out, she could just do a drop step behind him, right? If in fact, if she get him to stick that shield, and if he doesn't, bang, it's going to go the other way.
I can see what he's saying. What's going to happen is, as an evil lefty, if somebody cuts around my sword side and I push my shield that direction, I've detached it from my body, moved it towards their rotation point, and they can still get behind it because they've switched their feet.
Right. Exactly.
I've lost my block.
Yep.
If I'm grounded, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So, and even if you pick it up, if your other opponent has this kind of mobility, you're only going to pick it up once. They're going to shoot back the other way, and you're going to have to be throwing your shield the other way, and they're going to cut back, and you're going to be flailing like a dead butterfly.
It just reminded me of this attack with Bastard Sword that Laurel used to do.
Yes, exactly.
And we would just jam. If he was doing it to me or I was doing it to him, the other one would just jam. So, but
yeah, so, but that's mostly because he wasn't. Now add that switching foot while you do that same Bastard Sword shot to either side. And you'll see that all of a sudden it goes to either side. Dan, I'll be right with you. To go deeper, now you're around the shield that he's jamming you with. So, all right, Dan.
So like that example they gave, Louis and Side, where Louis stepped this way and then Side stepped that way.
Yeah.
Are we trying to counter step? Basically, so we're shoving our momentum away from them? Or basically,
so the good part is you're doing a rotational step around them, so you're not actually going away from them, you're rotating around them.
Okay.
Right. Now you could go away from them and throw like an inside leg shot or something to that effect. But then you just have to realize that you're creating distance. So you may be changing the attack, and you're also changing, if I don't rotate with them and I just sidestep, my block and offense are no longer in front of them, right?
Right.
And now I have to turn to look at them. So you have to be careful. That's why that rotational, if I slide here, now I'm still in front of them, right? Here I go, I'm in front of them.
Oh, wow.
If I do
this,
I'm not in front of them anymore.
That's what that turn right at that lead foot is for. So
exactly. Okay. All right. So there's the last step, and you guys can you can kind of, well, in fact, we're going to do this real quick, and I'm going to grab a regular sword. Can you switch to the other one, and then we'll switch back to Louis and Side so they can show you the overhead. So So we did the TikTok. Can you go ahead and switch it side?
His other view.
Yeah, where is it?
So we did the TikTok. So in this case, what I want you to do is I want you to just stand in front of what would be the guy you're fighting, or the girl. And we're going to drop and we're going to hook wrap and see where it hits on your sword. Okay, you can see mine hit like way up here. Now I'm going to do a quick switch foot and throw the same shot. And you can see where it hits on the sword. Now, instead of up here, I'm way back here. That's what that switch foot does for you. So I wanted to give you guys an example of how to use a switch foot really quick in the use of a weapon. So here I am. I could be even too far. I can't hit my opponent, right? Here I am. Now I throw that switch foot. I can hit it. Then I take myself back, and I got that range again. So
the important thing with that switch foot is you are not hurling your back foot forward. You are rotating your hips in space. They're not moving forward.
Exactly.
Do not throw that foot forward.
And you can, exactly, and just practice that strike. So this could be a hook to the back of the head. This could be a hook to the back of the legs. This could be a straight shot to the leg, to the head. It doesn't matter. What we're doing is we're changing distance. Right, so Brew, just so you can see my feet one more time. What we have is, here I am. And this is where Wrongbalder talks. So if this is my pivot, if this drops down here, if this drops down straight from me, I switch my feet.
That's a great exercise, Bonus.
What's that?
That's a great exercise for that. Putting that sword like that.
Yeah. Because now you can add it on offside when you switch back. So when you're going to throw the onside of the body, you switch your feet. When you throw, and as you switch them back to your normal form, you throw the offside. So you end up like this. Here we are. I'm going to throw that body, bang, 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 bang.
Just like we did on the ladder drill.
So especially if you have room to do this, I had to do it short. I'm in the basement. But if you have the height, go ahead and throw that high offside to the back of their head. And then you switch that feet, throw the deep wrap to the back of the other side of the head. If you're short like me, you're going to throw those to the legs. Nice, William. That's exactly it. And you're really stacked. You're doing a great job on being stacked, William. Your back is very nice. Bang, bang. Yep. Yes.
That's really weird because you're avoiding throwing the pull hip because you're really throwing the push hip on the offside.
Yeah, and it's interesting because your body is creating those blows, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Louis said, you're coiling that energy as you're switching those feet.
Yeah, when I was taught to throw with a push hip for the offside, that's what you're doing, but you're not switching the feet. Right. Disadvantage to go into a draw cut instead. Throw push hip instead.
Go ahead, Germanicus. I want to see. Yes, nice. Wrong side. There you go. Now the other hand, the other side. No, the other hand. Your left hand. So as whatever foot you bring forward, I want you to throw that sword. Yes. You're 2 sticks, so use them. Now the other way, the other sword. Yes.
Good.
Good. Yes.
And that's a bit discombobulated, so slow the heck down.
That's all right. That was good. All right, let's see, Nessa. Throw to the offside. Throw that upside head when you switch to your. Yeah. So as that hip, there and there. Wait, I can't tell where your hip is, unfortunately. No, you got it backwards. Yeah, do it backwards. I just couldn't tell. There you go. Yes, there you go. Now back. Bang, bang, back. And throw back onto the next one. Do 3 shots. You got it. That's the idea.
Good job, Elfin.
Good. That's the way. So let the energy created out of your body create these motions. So be careful of your elbows, guys. Careful of your shoulders. Watch extending all the way. You know, all the normal stuff. Blue, that's looking good. You got nice rolls going there. That's the idea. Very nice. Yeah, make sure your hand gets back to its place on that hook wrap, okay? Because you're dropping it too early. So you got it. And then back. Yeah. Back to its place and then offside. Yes. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it comes up and down.
I can try.
Nice side. Good. Alfwin, just be careful on leaning over for that leg shot. I want you to try to keep your back straight on those leg shots. Exactly, Grimmer. There you go, better. That way you're not losing your balance on those leg shots if your back is straight. Good. Very nice. All right, everyone. I think we're going to wrap her up. Everybody, you all did a great job. We had a lot of people on today. Probably about 18 of us here or so. Actually, it was probably more than 18, in the 20s, because we had a number of people that had 2 people there. Huge thanks to everybody for really pushing themselves. We had another 2.5-hour practice. Make sure you guys get water tonight. Make sure if this is the time, if you want to do a little bit of stretching, get your warmed up and everything else, go ahead and get a little bit of stretching in. You know, and I will post up the link to the training database and the stuff we were talking about, lead with your weapon stuff. So that way you guys can go ahead and look at some of those videos. If you want to see some of the feet, probably that really a lot of this we've been really pushing towards. You can also look up. I'll put a thing in there. You look up Vasily Lomachenko. Don't worry, I'll put it in the text on that training library. And all of his boxing matches are out there. Pick like the 4th or 5th one, and you can see how he breaks his opponents down just with movement. I mean, in a number of his like first fights, he was able to make people just quit and give up. So that's where we're trying to get to. You know, we're trying to be in that space where our feet and our understanding of movement is so much better than our opponents that they just know they get defeated before you even have to hit them. So that's, you know, and that's what it is to be an athlete. And I think the biggest piece of what I see out of this is that everybody here is really, really working on trying to get better. And this is 2.5 hours of really pushing and doing stuff, which I'm not sure you find that at a lot of other practices. So, you guys all have to pat yourself on your back because you're doing it. You're pushing yourself, right? And I wish I could get my arm up there like that, Blue. And, and you're pushing yourselves. And so, be proud because it will pay off one way or the other. All right. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. I'll get information out there for you guys today just to look at through the week. There's lots of other stuff. Anybody that really wants to push themselves, there's some Pell video stuff that goes on during the week and so on. Louis has a class, I believe, next week. We'll get that posted up as well so that you guys can take a look. He's going to really try to cover the drop step so you understand how it fits in. And it fits in a ton of different places, even with the crossover steps. Those are really drop steps inside of those sometimes. So, there's like I said, this is all about getting better understanding of what we're doing. So, any